Hello, listeners. My name is Charles Scott, and I'm here with
Charles Scott Jr. How you guys doing?
And here we are another week with Can We Talk?
Yes.
We are here to give you some informative information about the economy and about real estate, and maybe some ideas and some tips that can help you out with your financial planning.
Yes, and we can date this episode. We can say Happy New Year. This is our first episode of 2023. And just like last year, if you've been subscribed and looking at every episode, you're going to be in with a wealth of knowledge. We're going to give you information not only in real estate, but things that can help you in your life.
Not only that, we are hopefully going to be able to help you be able to apply for that mortgage to get into that home that you want to get into.
Yes.
And if you're out there and you're already in a home, maybe you want to think about some different type of investments. You know, they always say that you take advantage of adversity. So when things look like they may not be that good for the economy, that's when you come into roaring into business. A lot of people go into business for themselves, start finding out some of the things that they can do. One of the things I wanted to concentrate on today, we're going to talk about, is that with the changing market, you have to adapt.
Yes.
The other day I was listening to an economist, and they were talking about the Wall Street, and they were interviewing this president, CEO of a company, and they were asking what was their success, and they said that their success is to be able to adapt. You got to think on your feet. When things go this way, you got to be able to change.
Got to be 2 steps ahead, as they say.
You know, it's like what is it? Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 miles for a ship to turn around. So you got to be able to adjust, foresee some of the things that you think are going to happen, and then you adjust and you adjust as you go along.
Exactly, as we were going to say before. Since early summer of last year, we've been talking about this year, 2023, and what's going to come about as far as we do see interest rates going up, but that should not deter someone from buying a house because, in fact, it'll be less competition for you to buy that house. With the higher interest rates, you're going to see a lot of institutional buyers get out the market because at that point, with the low interest rates we've experienced over the last 2 years, I'll say the money was what they call cheap money. You see a lot of people pulling out loans that may be having balloon mortgages or stuff at the end. But now I would say we're returning to what we say a more normal market where we can have more of a inventory, I'll say.
Not only that, one of the things that we've been talking about and what's driving the market and what's driving some of your decisions may be the interest rates. So we talk a lot about interest rates. So let's see how that can work to your advantage.
Yes.
Now I'm addressing this to the investors out there. If you're looking to buy a property and maybe you're going to buy that property and flip that property, maybe you're going to buy a property and you want to turn around and just keep it for a short period of time, maybe you're going to live there for a short period of time, then the interest rates can actually benefit you because there's 2 types of interest rates that you have, a fixed and a variable.
Yes.
Now, a lot of people I notice, in other words, are going, if you're an investor, it would actually benefit you to do a variable mortgage. And the reason why? Because variable mortgages normally are lower than fixed mortgages.
Correct.
But there's a reason for everything. So let's say you're an investor and you're looking to purchase a property, and you're only going to keep that property for no more than about 6 months or a year. You're going to buy a rehab. I have a lot of people calling me for rehab properties.
Yes.
So look at this scenario. Let's say you go into a fixed mortgage, and let's say the fixed mortgage is around 7%. So that means for 30 years, you've got a 7% interest rate.
Doesn't change.
Doesn't change, stays the same unless you refinance it down the road. But now, you're an investor. You're not going to keep the property for 30 years.
Nope.
What are you concerned about? You're concerned about maybe keeping that property for maybe 6 months, maybe 7 months, because you got to buy it, you got to get the materials, and then you got to fix it up, then you got to raise the price, and then you're going to sell it.
Exactly.
So let's say you get a variable interest rate, and the variable interest rate is only 4.5%, 5%, because it's a variable rate. The bank knows that down the road they can make more money on you if you keep it for a long time, but you don't plan on keeping it for a long time.
Exactly.
So go in at a low interest rate, get a variable interest rate, and then later on you're going to sell the property. Now, what's the pros and cons of a variable interest rate?
Oh yes, I would say I'll start with some of the cons because bad news first. All right, so let's say you have this variable interest rate. Now let's say you remodel the house and you price it too high. You may have the house on the market for a very long time to the point where you start reaching the terms of the loan that say, okay, at this point, year number one, we're going to raise the interest rate from, let's say we said 4.5 up to a normal interest rate, 7% or beyond that. So you must make sure you have a strategy and a plan before you delve into a variable interest rate, because remember that interest rate will change up and down. May go up, may go lower. Most of the time it goes up because you start with a favorable interest rate.
Right. So that's one of the pros and the cons. Variable interest rate, if the interest rate the interest rate is not fixed, it's not permanent, so the interest rate can go up. You're trying to get in there and get out of there before the interest rate goes up and sell it, because at that point in time, you're selling the house, you're paying off the mortgage.
Exactly.
The mortgage is paid. So no matter what happens with the interest rate, you don't care, because now the house is sold, you have your money and you're off to the next property. So it's a matter of, there's something for everyone. It's a matter of what is your strategy, what is your plan. And then there's also what they call the balloon mortgage. Now,
oh yes,
we don't mean the mortgage is going to float up into the air and disappear. You know, what happens is that with that type of mortgage, it's you get a house, you pay monthly payments, but you agree that whoever loaned you that money, you're going to pay it all back within a certain period of time.
Exactly. So
they'll charge you low payments while you're paying them back, but they're not going to refinance that property or keep it going forever. So because they want their money back.
Exactly.
Main thing that we're saying is that there's all sorts of different strategies out there depending upon what you are looking to do. And how do you find out about all of these strategies is you give us a call. We've been in the business for 38 years, or I have. We are real estate agents throughout the state of Connecticut. We handle New York. So we know a lot. We teach a lot of classes on real estate. Our main office is right in Bridgeport, North Avenue. And so you can contact us because everybody has a different situation.
I was going to not interrupt you, but I was going to say another thing with these, let's say, variable rate mortgages. Remember to read the terms very closely, because some people may say, oh, if it's that easy, I can keep flipping these houses. Remember, some of these loans will have prepayment clauses where if you pay the loan back too quickly, they may have a fee or something like that, I believe.
Called a prepayment penalty.
Penalty.
Because if I loan you all of this money at a low interest rate, and then I want to make money because you paying me back, that's how I make my money, from the interest that I get. So if I loan you the money and now all of a sudden you go out and you say, hey, 2 months later, I'm going to pay you back all the money. Well, I had to have an appraisal, I had to go through underwriting, I had to pay it, I had expenses getting the money to you, and now you come and I don't want you to pay it off that quick.
Too quickly.
Because now I didn't get a chance to make any money on the interest from you. So some of these may have what they call a prepayment penalty. So that means if you pay it back with too early or within too quick a time, I still am entitled to make some money. So there's a penalty that you have to pay. Some of them may not have that. So as my son said, you have to check the fine print to see if it's got a prepayment penalty or if it does not. Some may not have the prepayment penalty. But these are things that you need to know when you are out there looking to buy a property and get a mortgage. Remember, everything is fair. In other words, if you get something here, they take away something over here.
Yes.
If they take away something over here, they give you something over there. So it's a matter of all of the loans and the mortgage companies, you have to be able to put apples with apples.
Yes.
It's like when you're looking for a car. You're looking for a car, this dealer offers you this deal, that dealer offers you this deal, but the lower price car sounds good, but it doesn't come with this, it doesn't come with the heated seats, it doesn't come with the warranty, it doesn't come with that. So it's a trade-off. Don't think that someone is just giving you a lot of things. that the other guy is not giving you, and his price is still going to stay the same.
Yes.
Without them taking away something.
Exactly.
That's where we come into the picture. That's why it's good to use a professional. That's where it comes into the picture. We can explain it to you. Hopefully you're watching this channel and you're telling your friends about this channel. Because what happens is that when a lot of times you're asking for advice, the person giving you advice may feel as though they're giving you good advice, but they're only giving you advice that they know or what they've experienced.
I was going to say, for example, a lot of people are saying, you know, they rely on their relatives to give them information about houses, but remember your uncle, your aunt, they may have bought the house in 2005, 2006. A lot of things have changed since then. For example, as we go into 2023, there's a program that's still active called Time to Own. This program was developed back in September of last year and has recently been refunded multiple times. So right now, Time to Own is something that didn't exist when your uncle or aunt may have bought the house and may not realize that there's money out there for people, first-time home buyers who lived in Connecticut for at least 3 years, that can help them pay their down payment and their closing costs.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yes.
There's a program out there, like you just said, Time to Own.
Time to Own.
Now, anyone out there that's looking to buy a house right now that maybe you're a little short on the down payment, or not a closing cost, they don't give you the down, well, yeah, you can use it for down payment. That's, you know, that's when I think about it, I'm almost tempted to say they don't do that, but they do that.
Yes.
There's so many things that this program does. And if you're looking to buy a house, this is money that you don't have to pay back if you stay in the house, what is it, after 10 years? And every year they forgive 10% of it, so that if you stay there, you don't even have to pay the money back. And they can give you from $25,000 up to $50,000. This is a program that the state of Connecticut has put in place, and there's money there right now. Like last time we checked, how much was there?
I believe around $7 million.
Around $7 million. So that this is money that if you're looking to buy a house, it's called Time to Own. You can look it up. You can Google it. You can go on the internet. It's Time to Own. And they can give you, depending upon the area in which you're buying in, $25,000 or up to $50,000 to help you buy that house.
Exactly.
And it's not included in your mortgage payment. So that means that when you're making your mortgage payment, let's say you're buying a house for, say, $300,000, and you use $25,000 of their money. So the payment that you make is only going to be based on $275,000.
Exactly.
That $25,000 that they gave you is not even going to be a payment every month for that.
Very true.
And if you stay there long enough, you don't even have to pay that back. Now, it makes a difference because sometimes that is the money that people use for their down payment and their closing costs. Maybe they have a good income. They can afford the mortgage, but they just haven't been able to save up enough money.
Exactly. Now, another thing I would say with this program is very beneficial for first-time home buyers and stuff like that, but also that we're realtors that have experience in it. Make sure when you're looking for a house, you have a realtor that knows about the program. Some realtors may not even know this program exists. We're on the phone daily with our local loan officers and with Chaffa themselves to see what the new details are with the program.
Exactly. And because the money is not going to be there forever.
Exactly.
Every day it dwindles down. We check every day to see how much is left. You know, how many loans did they put out this day? What's the balance in there? So if you find a house, you can have your loan officer reserve that money for you, whatever amount that you feel as though that he feels as though you may need to make your deal work. He can put a reserve in saying, I want you to hold $25,000 for this client. We had a client recently where they put in for, was it $37,500 that person can get to go towards helping them get that particular house. So you see, this is real money. These are real programs that are out there. Now, that's why I say, we keep abreast of all these programs. One of the advantages of using us is that we not only see into those programs, there's other programs, there's a Housing Development Fund, there's the Chaffa program, there's the FHA program, there's conventional programs, there's down payment assistance programs.
Yes.
Many cities have their own programs.
And I was going to say the Bridgeport DAP.
The DAP program, DAP, standing for Down Payment Assistance Program. Fairfield, they have a program.
Correct.
For the, Stanford, they have a program. New Haven, Connecticut, they have a program. So you see, there's programs that are out there that can assist you in purchasing a home. That's why you want to give us a call.
Definitely, and work with someone that knows these programs. 'Cause like I said before, a lot of people don't realize there are so many programs.
Exactly. A lot of people don't know that the programs are out there. A lot of the realtors don't know that there's the programs that are out there. And you can't go back retroactively after you bought a house and say, oh,
no.
I didn't know about the program.
Can't go back and say, can I use time to own to pay my closing costs? No.
Can you give me some of that money? No, doesn't work like that.
Nope.
You have to apply for that money.
Correct.
Main thing we're saying is that you have to be able to work with someone that can search out the programs or know the programs, know or have your interests, your best interests at
Yes.
stake. Where can we put this person, or where can we put that person, or even if we don't have the answers, we deal with mortgage people or the mortgage companies that have programs that can assist you, people that have experienced in it, and that's a great part of it also. You just can't go out there blindly, and it's always, I find it's best always to use local people.
Oh, yes.
Even with your mortgages, it amazes me, some of these people, they go on the internet and they Google it and they call this person up.
Well, how about this? You see, like, I'll say this past Super Bowl, I'm not going to name the company, but they're encouraging people to download the app, enter their financial information, and get a mortgage quote within minutes. So how accurate is that?
Well, you have also a lot of the national companies that are coming and they're evaluating properties,
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of new national companies that come out, and they use statistics, algorithms. They'll look at a property, and they look at the square footage of that property, and they'll say, okay, this property is worth so much money, and this property is 1,200 square feet. And this property up the street, it's in the same area, and it's 1,200 square feet. So this property is the same value as that property. But what if the property up the street has been totally remodeled? They got granite countertops, they got stainless steel appliances, they got a finished basement.
Exactly.
It's all done over inside, updated electrical, and the other property down the street doesn't have anything. So how can you say that both properties are worth the same amount of money?
Exactly. But we're saying this algorithm is only so accurate because that also works in the reverse. But if the property, it says it's worth $300,000, you go to the property and it's an abandoned building and there's an oil tank underground, I think it's drastically less worth than $300,000. So remember, when you see a property on, I'll say, some of these popular websites, and they show you an estimate of what it's worth, make sure you work with a realtor who can then look at that and do his own comparables, because what a realtor has access to is the MLS, which shows the current sales, real-time sales that these apps take data from. So that data may be a little bit outdated versus the data your realtor will have, which is real-time.
Another thing that you want to do is that when you're looking at finding your team, you're putting together your team. We always say it's always best to go out there and work with a team of professional people that are going to help you, whether or not you're looking to invest in a property or if you're just a single homeowner. And that team consists of your lawyer, because the lawyer is going to, and a real estate lawyer. You don't need a criminal lawyer to do a closing. In other words, an attorney that knows all about real estate, how to do the closings, to do the title searches, and to give you advice on contracts. Yes. So you have an attorney, you have a realtor. The realtor should have some experience under his belt, been out there. It amazes me sometimes you get a real estate agent, it's a friend of the family, just got his license last week, and you're the first client. So a lot of times in real estate, it's relationships that help you get a deal. It's relationships where the realtor can pick up the phone and call the other real estate agent and say, hey, Joe, you got this property out there. I noticed that it's been out there for a while. Can you give me some information? Tell me a little bit about the property. so that and you know, what programs are there that your seller may be open to using. So these are the relationships where the real estate agent can help you get that property.
Exactly.
So you need your real estate agent, you need your lawyer, and also the bank's going to hire an appraiser to go out there and look at the property. You may even need a what they call a down payment, not down payment, but a home buyer certificate.
Oh, yes.
In other words, so there are nonprofits out there where you have to go and take a home buying class.
Very true.
And that home buying class, at the end of it, you'll get a certificate stating that you learned all about mortgages, you learned about buying a property. And if you're buying a multifamily, you may have to get a landlord class that you may have to take.
Yes, that's also provided by the nonprofits.
Provided by the nonprofit. So there's a team of people that are going to help you out there in buying the property. Because maybe you might want to buy a multifamily. And we may say to you, well, okay, let's give you the pros and cons of buying a multifamily house.
Exactly.
You know,
I would say we get a lot of calls about multifamilies. I'll say one of the pros is, yes, as you move in, your tenants can help you pay the mortgage. You know, if you have income coming on the second, third floor, or maybe it's a two-family, you live on one side, the tenant lives on the other side, you have income coming in. That's definitely a pro. Another pro I would say is equity. I'll say a lot, multifamilies build a lot equity quicker because it's an income-producing asset, I'll say. So I'll say it's more liquid than a single family.
the other thing is that supply and demand. I just want to put this out there for everybody that's listening today. In the past year, there was a run on multifamily houses. A lot of people wanted to get the multifamily houses. They got to have a multifamily house. We've had some requests for different cities within the state of Connecticut where there are no multifamilies available.
Yes.
Zero. And I was even surprised myself. I've had people call me and say, hey, I want to buy a two-family house in this particular area. And I check and it's none, zero. I said, wow, this is the first time. I've been in the business 38 years, and it's the first time I've seen where in some cities there, or particular cities, there were no multifamilies available. Why? This is because people in the past have bought multifamilies because they want to have someone subsidize their mortgage payment.
Correct.
And you know what it has to do with more so? This is where the experience and the knowledge comes along, and I think it has a lot to do with the rents going up.
Yes, definitely.
Increased rents. I can remember a time when landlords were all out there looking for people to rent their apartments to. They were up and down the street, had signs all in their windows, apartment for rent, apartment for rent,
right?
Apartment for rent. Then you had the COVID.
Oh yes, COVID changed everything.
COVID changed the real estate industry upside down.
Yes, it did.
Especially in the state of Connecticut.
Yes.
Because next door we have New York City, where there's millions and millions of people. And all of these millions of people, or a lot of them started working from home.
Yes, and what that did was, with the remote jobs, people realized, well, I don't have to live in Manhattan, I don't have to live in the Bronx, I can move to Connecticut and still keep my salary, my six-figure salary, and just work off the laptop. So what happens is someone who's used to paying rent for, let's say, $2,500 for a two-bedroom, now comes to, let's say, Bridgeport, and they say, wow, two bedrooms here are only $1,500. I might overpay. You know, I might tell the landlord, I'll pay you $1,600. I need the apartment now, which I've seen people do. They turn into a bidding war for an apartment. And what that does is just squeezes the local area. The people that can barely afford a two-bedroom are now pushed out further into the state.
And right, and the rents have skyrocketed. And in part, the rents have gone up because of the jobs market. Let's take, for example, if you have a person, let's say self-employed people. A self-employed person might be insurance, it's an insurance broker, it could be a real estate broker. Previously, you had your house, which you lived in, and then you had your little office that you had downtown that maybe you only had one or two rooms and you're paying $500 or $600 for the small little office that you had downtown. And now you're working mostly from home. So therefore, that $500 or $600 that you were paying for that small little office, you don't need it anymore. So therefore, that's something that you could pay rent for or pay on your mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the same token, that happened for a person who's renting.
Yes.
Maybe the person is renting, maybe a single family house, or maybe renting an apartment, and now instead of paying all of that money for their little office, they work out of their home. So therefore, they can afford to pay more rent and still save money, because they would normally have the office that they'd have to pay for anyway.
Exactly.
So what's happening is that because the rents have skyrocketed, the landlords are able to keep their homes and decide not to sell them.
Yes.
So why should I sell my house, my two-family house, when I'm getting good rents? So therefore, you have a little shortage of multifamily houses out there.
And I was going to say also, and the landlords that are ready to sell, they basically have, I'll say, unlimited equity. They bought these houses maybe 10 years ago, and they're willing to, they'll sell them, they'll cash out. Now, the new buyers, the person that comes in, for example, we mentioned New York again, they're going to be paying the new price, which is going to be at the top of the market. They're going to have to increase those rents to supply, enough money to pay that mortgage. So they're going to increase the rents. I've seen, 40% sometimes.
The main thing that we're trying to emphasize is that if you're looking to do anything, call us so we can sit
Yes.
down. We're generalizing right now and giving you an overview of what's happening out there in the marketplace. But in order for us to sit down with you and find out what your needs are and show you how we can assist you,
Yes.
give us a call. You see the number down there. You can call us. You can also set up a one-on-one appointment. These are some of the things that we do in the community. We help people.
Yes.
We help people. We give you ideas. We point you in the direction of agencies out there that can help you.
Correct.
Whether it's free money or getting advice on some of the, even if you're having problems with a property, give us a call.
Exactly.
We can come up with some places that we can refer you to that can assist you. If you're having problems paying your mortgage, if you haven't, don't lose your house. We are going to make that a whole segment
Yes.
too, as to how we can prevent you from going into foreclosure if you're having problems, and some of the
Correct.
things that we can do to help you.
Definitely.
So maybe you want to close it out.
Yes, I was going to say, so as we begin this new year, we're going to have just as much information, if not more, than last year. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you tune in every week to Can We Talk.
Again, until next week, God bless.
Amen.